Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Knows podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod. Rod, what are you hot about today?
Oh, Jimmy, listen, you and I have been on this podcast journey for a long time, my friend. We have co-hosted a lot of episodes together. You've been a guest on my show. I've been a guest on your show. Yeah, we know you've produced all my episodes. We are simpatico here. But the most fun I have every week, I have to admit, is when you throw it to me at the beginning of this podcast and I have the freedom to just roll wherever I want to. For 2 days now, I've been thinking about where I wanted to go with this first time that you threw it to me. Do I want to go to the fact that red LA Knight logo shirts are sold out at WWE.com? I'm pretty hot about that. That's great. I'd like to think that we had a little bit to do with the beginnings of the Yeah movement. Do I want to go with the fact that we continue to do injury storylines with Liv and Raquel? Do I want to go there? No, that's not where I'm going to go. There's only one place that I can go, Jimmy, and it's my guy, Elton Prince, separated shoulder. We need to excoriate Ridge Holland from the WWE. How many more people are we going to let Ridge Holland injure before we do something about it? Okay, sure, he seems charismatic. He's got a huge body, former rugby player, but the guy is injuring people. He took out Big E. We haven't seen him since. Now he's messing around with Pretty Deadly. Jimmy, I cannot abide this.
I really love Pretty Deadly.
At least he's going from neck to shoulder. Next will be like a ribs. Maybe he broke Kevin Owens' ribs. You never know. That could have happened because Kevin Owens has some broken ribs there. I do like the fact that you went there. Chris, give me an old man take. We're going to hit on Rod's other takes here too.
Okay, so it has been so before I got back in this past year, the last time I was watching wrestling was the Attitude Era. It was a long time ago. All right. And one thing I loved about that era are the signs in the stands, the signs that the fans would put out there. And I am sick and tired of seeing a lack of signs at these shows. You go back and you listen to Stone Cold, The Rock, all these guys that were in the Attitude Area, and they needed those signs in that crowd to show them what's going over and what's not. And then it helps those wrestlers actually perform better and get more over with the fans by using what they know they love. We need these fans to get back, creating signs, plastering them all over these arenas and stadiums every single week so we can start building up more. I'm sick and tired of these fans taking the easy, lazy way out.
Wow, that came out of nowhere. Now, listen, as someone who was going to live shows in the Attitude Era, I will tell you one thing that sucks at a live show in the Attitude Era. All those signs. There was literally a show I went to with my one of my good friends. The person half a section down had their sign up, blocked the entire ring, could not see the ring. This was at a house show, mind you. There are no television cameras. The wrestlers do not care. We had to go down. We yelled, please. And my friend actually went down. I was like, listen, here's the deal. Great sign. The Hardy Boys, I'm sure they love it. It's fine. It was Hardy Boys, by the way. Please put it down because our whole section cannot see. Finally put it down. So while I respect most of the stuff you say, Chris, like most of the stuff I disagree with you on this one. Keep the signs fully away. Rod, though, it does add a lot to the TV experience, doesn't it?
I was going to say, our guy, the American Nightmare, is on the same wavelength as the old man here, right? He has recently been quoted as saying that he is excited about seeing a few of the signs pop back up in the crowd, and he is all for it. So, you know, Chris being an old man, Cody Rhodes being more attuned with the old school ways of wrestling, right? Being that his older brother was someone who wrestled during the Attitude Era, being that his father is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. So, old man Chris, old man Cody, simpatico. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, of course. I do want to talk about your LA Knight shirt situation because I'm in an LA Knight shirt situation myself because I can speak very easily. When the shirt came out, the black one, I ordered it. Day it came out. Like, okay, cool. Be here in a little bit. About a week, I look, what's going on? August 3rd is when it was supposed to ship to me. It was sold out before I bought it. How awesome is that? Hopefully it'll be here this week. But my question is, you know, Chris, you make your own clothing. That's something you do. They just have black shirts in a warehouse. They have a printer. You put the shirt on thing, you push down, you print. These aren't like stitched shirts. It ain't that hard. How can they, Chris? You tell me, how can they be sold out?
They obviously weren't thinking ahead because they didn't realize how over LA Knight was because they haven't been listening to our podcast because then they would know. But you're not wrong. It is so easy to get shirts made. Every YouTuber, Joe Blow guy out there has his own line of shirts, and they can get them wherever and whenever they want. I mean, maybe you have, I don't know if WWE has like a licensing and distribution agreement with a certain manufacturer or certain distributor, but like, seriously, go to China and you can get your 80,000 to 800,000 shirts in just a couple weeks, already printed with already printed with LA Knight, whatever you want on them. You send them a PDF file of what you want on the shirt, and they silk screen it right on there.
Shout out to Fanatics. Chris King does not necessarily speak for this podcast. We are huge fans of Fanatics.
Big
And if they would
fans
like
of Fanatics.
if they would like to be involved with us, since they are the exclusive distributor of WWE t-shirts, I'm absolutely a fan of you, Michael Rubin. I love what you're doing. Good luck with the Washington football team.
I have an Asuka and an LA Knight autographed photo from Fanatics. I have a shirt coming from Fanatics. But I will say about Fanatics, though, you click on that WWE logo, pictures pop up of all the superstars. Well, not all of them, but, like the most popular. LA Knight's not on there.
I
Guess
did
who's
notice
on there?
that. I noticed exactly that same thing, Jimmy.
The Miz is on there.
Yeah, he is. We don't know why? Because The Miz has the 6th most matches in the history of the WWE, Jimmy. That's why.
Yes, we had a nice little discussion in our group thread today about this list of most matches in the WWE history. And out of nowhere, folks, Kane. That's got to be Kane, number one, with 1,802 matches. His first match was Survivor Series 1997, and I believe his last match was in Saudi Arabia last year. You never know. He's going to probably still wrestle again. You never know how that mayoral thing is going to go with him. Were you surprised?
Jimmy, are we counting fake Diesel and Isaac Yankem matches in here?
I think you have to count all. Well, I think so. Yeah, so correct. It would be a little bit before that as Kane. I would think you'd have to because it's Glenn Jacobs is the one who wrestled in that. That's a good call. Were you surprised at all that Kane was number one?
I really wasn't because what hit me when I saw this list was this is not necessarily a list of the greatest to ever do it, but these are a list of great ones, right? Because I think a huge talent is something that gets overlooked in the wrestling business is the ability to show up, to be gate, to wrestle matches, to always be there for storylines, right? As much as we love The Undertaker, he had to take many years off between some of his WrestleMania matches, right? Stone Cold Steve Austin has many blank years of injury periods in his career. The Rock was taking off to film movies, right? Guys like Kofi Kingston and The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, right? And Kane. These are guys who showed up to wrestle every night at house shows, every pay-per-view, every Raw, every SmackDown. They were available. They went out there and they put on a show for the people. And as I get more advanced in my appreciation of the professional wrestling game, I have a whole lot of respect for the guys that are on this list. Randy Orton, shout out to you as well, number 5.
Chris King, anybody on that list surprise you?
I was actually more surprised by a couple. One in particular guy that wasn't on this list, and that's Rey Mysterio. This guy's been in the WWE for ages, and I was surprised he wasn't even in the top 15.
Real quick, Chris, I'm not surprised by that because a lot of Rey's career was taking up wrestling matches in WCW. That's not going to count to his total in WWE.
Well, and
true.
And two, he did leave for a few years. There was some down years for him in WWE. He left. He actually kind of got back to where he needed to be and then came back in. He was a pretty sought-after free agent for a while. But when he was in WWE, he was still hurt all the time. Rey was a lot, let's say, larger and more muscular than he had ever been in his career for a few years there in WWE. And I think that led to a lot of his knee injuries and things like that. Paul White, number 3 overall, 1547. That's a lot considering he was gone for a few years again. So Paul White came in with a lot of, he was going to be the next big thing. He came in, St. Valentine's Day Massacre, terrific match. Well, not terrific match, terrific storyline between Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve
Up
Austin.
through the ring, right, Jimmy? Up through the ring, right?
Through the wing. That's Paul White. Loses his first match on TV and goes straight down from there because you got to lose. You can't win when you come to WWE. This is the big leagues, folks. But he also went to developmental for a few years, came back at a Royal Rumble, and then really was that workhorse, as we've talked about before. Different definition of the workhorse here, where every day coming in and out wrestling there. Dolph Ziggler, number 2 overall at 1554. Dolph Ziggler hasn't really wrestled that much in the last 5 years. He's really been here and there, bring him in when you need him. But let me tell you, man can still go.
I wondered how much his house shows were counting to this too, Jim, right? Like we have no idea how many house shows Ziggler's wrestling from time to time, right? Is he showing up in Omaha? Sure. You know what I mean? Is he doing the Pensacola shows? You know what I mean? Is he in Roanoke, Virginia? Is he in Cheyenne, Wyoming? I can just keep naming cities.
So see, that's one question I had too. I figured that this would count house shows in this total. But my other question was, does this take into account the non-sanctioned matches that took place? I mean, how many times have we seen people go out and do 5-10 minute matches essentially that are just fights or just bumps that these guys are taking? Are they taken into account when they're actually performing with another guy in the ring, or is it only official sanctioned matches?
That's a great question, Chris, because I kind of wondered about that too, right? Like, let's say our friends, the Usos, right, who both appear on this list, right, but it's separate numbers. And I was surprised to see that Jimmy's actually wrestled more matches than Jay. But our friends, the Usos, we call them the king of the schmaz, right? Do they get no credit for like every single Roman Reigns match that they've been involved in and then had to take bumps in?
They'd be at 2,500 matches right now for that. Some of the people that I'm looking at to maybe climb up this list, Seth Rollins is going to be number 1 by the time it's all said and done. He's extremely consistent, wrestles all the time. He is your fighting world champion, so I think that's something to look out for there. Sheamus at 1,400 matches. I don't know how much more Sheamus has to go, honestly. It's going to be a few years still, but he's been wrestling a long time. You've got to think he's been wrestling since like 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, Sheamus has been after it for a while. I wondered about both Sheamus and The Miz, right? Both guys who The Miz works a lot less frequently than Sheamus does, right? But I kind of like spun those together. So like Sheamus, like you said, Jimmy, maybe doesn't have a whole lot of more matches because he still keeps going, right? He's doing SmackDowns, he's turning around doing Raws, he's doing pay-per-views, and then he's doing the Raw the next night, you know? So he's going time and time and time again. The Miz doesn't. But both of these guys still seem to be hot, right? Like Sheamus is getting bigger pops from the crowd than he ever has. And The Miz is one of the easiest guys to bring down in the ring and to get heat from the crowd in a negative way. So, I mean, these guys could keep going for a bit longer if they'd like to.
Chris King, do you remember what you're doing on February 10th, 2009? This isn't a trick question.
February 10th, 2009. I was probably, yes, I do know. I was stuck in a snowstorm on my way from Martinsville to Bloomington, Indiana.
That's amazing that you remember that. You don't remember. Okay, fair enough. Well, also what's happening there is Natalya made her WWE debut as a manager in ECW 2009, and she is still going. I don't know, strong is the word, but she is still going and has been around for everything. So kudos to Natalya being the highest ranked woman on the list at 1,100 matches. That's really saying something.
That definitely is saying something. But Jimmy, you brought up a name there, and I'm going to throw a complete curveball at you right now because I know that you can answer this. Neither Chris nor I would have any opinion on this, but you can answer this. What are your thoughts
here?
Yeah, what are your thoughts about AEW not wanting the excellence of execution? One of the greatest to ever do it, Bret Hart, working for their organization. What are your thoughts?
I didn't read too much into it. I think that he brought out the belt, the original belt, when they started the organization. He's more of a WWE guy, and I really don't know if they want him. What do you do with him? You've got so many people on your roster already. I'm actually, from a WWE fan's perspective, I'm fine with it because I'd rather him do more with WWE, to be honest with you.
That's a good point, too. I did selfishly think about it that same way, Jim, that if he's not going to get this job with AEW, we might possibly be able to see him come down and we hear the screeching guitar hit. You know what I mean? He walks out with the wraparound shades a few more times. Because listen, I am a fan of nostalgia and pops just as much as anybody else. So give me a Bret Hart pop and not over on the AEW side for sure. So but I had to throw that in there, Jimmy, because there's no way you thought I was going to do that.
Yeah, you mentioned AEW on the show. There's a lot going on in AEW. There's also a lot going on in WWE, including the Great American Bash this weekend for NXT. And Rod, your boy, my boy, Chris's boy, Gable Steveson making his WWE in-ring debut against Rod's boy, Baron Corbin. Are you excited to see him wrestle for the first time?
Jimmy, I watched NXT for the decision. Okay. Will I tell you that I watched every single minute of NXT and completely paid attention to all of it? No, I did not. I fast forwarded through quite a bit, but Gable Steveson has always intrigued me. Okay. We put him in a Raw SmackDown draft a couple of years ago. We didn't draft him in the most recent draft. No. We drafted him in the draft before that. Right. So he's always been a thing. We've had him come down to the ring and do a couple of things. He certainly has the stellar collegiate background, right? So I'm excited about Gable Steveson. So I tuned in the other night to see him
very well. Have you and Chris been talking a lot together? No. Okay.
You know what it is, Jimmy? I found out that Geritol tastes just as good as beer, and it's just a whole thing now. Chris is sending me his extra Geritol, and I am just completely hopped up on Geritol and feeling good, my friend.
I was wondering why you haven't blinked.
But I'm excited. I'm telling you, I'm excited. Yeah. I'm tuning into Great American Bash. I'm in for Gable Steveson. I like a few of the characters that I've seen on NXT. I understand now why you and the Cleveland Crippler bring it up so often, because it really is the laboratory where guys get a chance to craft and create a character and become good wrestlers. And I've been intrigued by a little of what I've seen, Jimmy.
So I have a couple questions because I've only seen this guy once. I think it was a year ago at WrestleMania that he showed up, or maybe it was before that. But I am curious and want to know what you think, Jimmy, especially. Do you think they have held off on him making his in-ring debut because he's had issues with performing, whether it's in training or at the development center in Orlando or wherever, or do you think it's other reasons? Has he dealt with injury? Does he not have a good gimmick yet? Like, what's kept him on the sidelines for this long?
I think you answered your own questions. The answer is yes. I think all of that, but also he was still going back and forth if he was going to continue amateur wrestling, going for world championships, things like that. Obviously, he's made that decision now. I think the biggest thing with him is he's got to have some kind of personality. And what we've seen so far hasn't been the best. He likes wearing that turtleneck, that weird sweater he wore once. He needs a mouthpiece. We always say, hey, Heyman would be perfect with this person, that person. He needs a mouthpiece that can talk for him and really show that he's a badass. He needs to go in and destroy Baron Corbin. That will give him some legitimacy. He's a main roster guy, came down here. This needs to be like a 4-minute destruction of Baron Corbin, and I'm a little nervous that it may not be. Rod is so nervous that he's muted right now.
Jimmy, excuse me. I apologize. I was so enthralled in both you and Chris's points there, but I have 3 letters for you, Jimmy, speaking to exactly what you just talked about right there.
Sorry.
MVP. Okay? MVP. If you're talking mouthpiece and you're talking somebody who needs someone to speak for them and talk for them and to bring hype for a match, and then the person just has to show up and kick ass, MVP is the perfect person.
Well, it looks like Lashley's doing some other stuff on his own there. I love that because obviously it's not going to be Heyman. So I think having someone like MVP come in, Chris, is a really good idea, Rod. Good job, man.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea because, like you said, we don't know what kind of charisma or if he has anything available as far as the mic skills. So he definitely does need a manager or a mouthpiece.
We just need more mouthpiece and managers in the WWE period anyway, Jim. We've talked about this. We've danced around the subject for a couple of weeks now, and we just need to start riding on that train and have this be one of the wedge things we care about on this podcast. We need more managers.
Well, we make things happen here on the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan Knows Podcasting Network. We're at Yeah We Know Pod on Twitter, or X.
I was going to say, my app still says Twitter. I was going to ask you guys, does your guys, well, Chris, I know you don't ever go to Twitter because you frankly still use tin cans and a string between them. But Jimmy, does your app still say Twitter?
Mine still says Twitter on it. That might have to do with the fact that certain other companies own the trademark for X online like that, including the Xbox.
Yeah, including the fact that he also didn't even get a permit to take the sign down on the street. I mean, just completely mismanaged by a guy who's supposed to be such a brilliant businessman. But that's a story for a different podcast, not a wrestling podcast.
Yes, it is. So let's talk a little bit about SmackDown preview, and then I want to hit on the SummerSlam card as of now. They continue to bury our boy LA Knight. Yeah, but he will come out on top of everything. Yeah, guaranteed that one. We have Rey Mysterio against Santos Escobar in the finals of the tournament to then face Theory next week. I think it's going to be a solid match overall. I think Escobar's got to win this though, right, guys?
I just I don't want to seem like I'm coming down on Santos or Rey here, but this is just a complete letdown. I mean, just a complete letdown. This is just complete Vince getting his fingers in things. LA Knight's too short. LA Knight's not this. LA Knight's not that. Rey Mysterio's a name. Rey Mysterio's a Hall of Famer. We got to get Santos over because we've invested so much in him. And it's just so much Vince at play right here that it just really knocks me aback because there's no world that exists right now that doesn't want LA Knight as the United States champion. Okay. And Vince, like you've said too many times, Jimmy, loves nothing more than sticking his thumb in the eye of the WWE universe. And I don't think there's anything wrong with throwing a little bone out there right now to have the Yeah movement mean something. Because here's the other thing, Jim, that I'd like to point out about our guy, LA Knight. All right. We've talked about the Kofi movement before. We've talked about Daniel Bryan. All right. If you let this thing continue to fester and the train keeps moving down the track and people are throwing more coal into the steam engine and it's moving even faster, you then look even worse for not going along with it. If you nip this thing in the bud early, Vince, you're not going to have people getting mad at you for not making the decision they all want. So why not give him the belt right now, Jim? As much as I don't want to seem like I'm coming down on Santos and Rey, I was really disappointed in this.
Chris King, why do you think Rod hates Santos and Rey so much?
Are their shirts sold out at the WWE website?
I don't even know if Santos has a shirt, just for the record.
See, there you go.
You still got an old school Legado del Fantasma shirt. One of those that doesn't even work anymore.
I have no interest in this match, though.
Which one?
No, none at all.
Wow, you love Rey. I'm surprised to hear this.
I do love Rey Mysterio, and I don't have a problem with Santos either, but there's no drama to this match, right? There's no drama here.
Well, they're both in the El Tipo, so
yeah,
I don't know what that means.
There'd be more drama seeing Finn Balor and Damian Priest fight each other than it would be these two. I mean, you have a mentor versus apprentice, but they love each other, so there's no real drama. There's no real stakes. I don't believe either one of them would get over on Theory if they fought him one-on-one. So I really don't see any kind of intrigue or anything that makes me want to pay attention.
No, Chris, I totally agree with you there. You're absolutely right. You can see a little bit of animosity between Damian Priest and Finn Balor in the way that they're writing the story. But the story that they're writing between Santos and Rey does not lead me to believe that they're all of a sudden going to start beating the crap out of each other in a match. Like, that's just not going to happen.
You know what's great timing? I got my shipment notification. My LA Knight t-shirt has been shipped, expected to arrive early on August 1st. Thank you very much. So next week, I will be wearing my LA Knight t-shirt. Even though
that is incredible. That is absolutely incredible. Listen, I have many a wrestling t-shirt that I rock on many occasions. I will even say that I wore a wrestling t-shirt to the last time you and I went to a live event, Jimmy, and you did not. But I'm now excited to hear that you have yourself an LA Knight shirt.
I wore my Rock, my Dwayne Johnson. Yeah, that's right. Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Asuka. The build up to this for me has been okay. Whatever. Let's get to the match because I think the match is going to be really solid, and I just hate all this interference and going back and forth. I don't care. I want the match to happen. It's going to be great, and Asuka's going to win, but we're going to do that next week. So we're not going to. They're going to have a nice little confrontation, I think, this week, Rod.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And I continue to try to short sell Asuka, but I also remind myself that I'm probably only doing it because I like other female wrestlers better than her, right? I'm trying to make myself put the governor on a little bit here, not get too far down the road, not get going 45 miles an hour, maybe scale it back to like 35, actually driving the speed limit, and realizing that Asuka tells a good story, wrestles a good match, and I shouldn't be so jingoistic about it and mad that she can't speak English. That's what I really tried to tell myself about Asuka, Jimmy, if I'm just being completely honest with you and the listeners here.
That is very open and honest, and I appreciate that. I'm not even going to joke. That's really good. I like that, Rod. You're self-aware. Speaking of someone who's not even close to being self-aware or knows what that means, Chris King, are you excited about this? I'm sorry, I'm an ass.
It really sounded like you were going to introduce Dirty Dom there.
Yeah, I did. I thought that's where he was going, too. That's so great. I thought that's exactly where he was going.
That's really funny.
But I'm with you. I think this is going to be a great match. I believe Charlotte's going to get her 15th title.
No,
I think this is a perfect setup for that.
I don't want this. Chris, stop talking this into existence.
Listen, I'm not right hardly ever on this podcast.
Valid point.
I think if me picking Charlotte is probably a good bet that she's not going to win, but I still think that's what they're going to do. I do think they wanted her to get a few more titles before she officially retires, so she's going to get the belt again. And
what retires? What are you doing? Stop it! What are you doing right now? What are you doing to me right now?
Listen, SummerSlam is a premier premium live event, and it's a perfect spot for her to get her 15th title belt.
Stop! This is ridiculous, Jimmy. I don't want any of this. Come on, tell him to stop.
You are Charlotte Flair's #1 fan. You have a flag outside your house that says "Woo" and in parentheses, not Rick, Charlotte. Okay, you don't want her to win at SummerSlam.
I don't want her to get her 15th title in a scenario where she has it for a couple of weeks. Again. I just don't, right? I just don't. I want Charlotte to win her 15th title in a scenario that really means something, okay? And then I want her to lose that title because then that will help bump somebody up in a year and a half, 2 years from now that maybe we don't even know about, right? Maybe Zoe Stark, we'll all be excited about her at that point and she'll need a bump and Charlotte will lose her title at that point. And then we can tell the ultimate story that we all want. We want to sit around the campfire when we're old and we want to be able to tell our grandkids about the time that Charlotte Flair won the belt for the 16th time and tied her father.
Charlotte Flair needs to not be the champion until WrestleMania. She needs to lose and she needs to fight for it and she needs to win the Royal Rumble again. And she needs to fight Bianca Belair.
Ooh, will that make her a 3-time female Royal Rumble winner at that point, Jimmy?
Probably. Yeah. Is that 3? Wow.
I think it might be 3. See, I like that. I like that as well because then you're putting her on par with Stone Cold.
Because I want her to really get back and wrestle a lot. And if you put the title on her now, she's going to have it for a couple months, lose it, and then go. And I want her, selfishly, I want her to be around as much as possible.
What do you mean selfishly? You're always giving her crap for not wrestling. What do you mean selfishly?
Well, yeah. Jimmy's always doing that she goes on her hiatus or her whatever. And that's what she's going to continue to do. She's not that young anymore.
I don't understand what you're doing. You're the old person on this podcast. Why are you trying to make Charlotte old with you?
Listen, I'm not trying to get in the ring and wrestle, though, either. All right? She's not going to be able to be a 6-month-on type of wrestler going out there every week.
I'm just going to start trying to retire Drew McIntyre then. If this is a thing that we're just going to do, we're going to try to reach everybody's favorite wrestlers. I mean, what in the world?
I'm trying to get your girl more belts, and you're getting upset.
I don't want it that way, Chris.
How old do you think Charlotte Flair is, Rod?
I would guess that Charlotte Flair is 36 years old.
Chris King, how old is she?
I want to say she is 41, but it may be only 39. I think she's 39. 39.
Rod wins. She is 26. No, she's 37 years old.
Yeah, because she's been around for a while and done some things. Yeah. I get it. I'm not saying she's going to wrestle forever, but we don't need to start retiring her. That's all I'm saying.
And also think of this, Rhea Ripley, 26 years old, and that's how good she is now. Think about that. That's
but exciting. I mean, Are we going to get to this? We'll get to Rhea. I'm not going to say anything here.
Well, let's get to Rhea right now because she's going to have a match at SummerSlam, I think, against Raquel. I think because she's just hurt everybody else. Talk to me about Rhea. You're not buying it now? What's going on, man?
No, listen, I want to ask Chris here, okay? I want to ask Chris here. Somebody who's just recently come in, somebody who doesn't have quite as much, burn from past WWE cycles, past storylines, all the above. Chris, do you think that Rhea Ripley is elevated by the story that they are telling right now, where she essentially doesn't actually fight anybody? She just is a dirty bully who sneaks up on people and beats them down backstage, beats them down on the side of the ring before matches. Do you believe that this in any way, shape, or form elevates her character to you, somebody who's a little less experienced than Jimmy and I?
I'll say this: if she wasn't a member of the Judgment Day and doing her thing with Dirty Dom, she wouldn't be as elevated. However, I do enjoy the fact that they are putting her in, when she does wrestle, putting her in matches where she essentially dominates her opponents.
Let me be clear. I don't have a problem that she actually has a bell ring and she dominates opponent in a wrestling match. I don't have a problem with that. It's everything else that they tend to do with her, which way outweighs the times where she actually has a bell ring, Chris. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think they keep on throwing her weak opponents. Like if it's like she's the only one in her matches that are sticking to this separate brand theory. She hasn't wrestled anybody from SmackDown. It's only these lesser women on Raw. I mean, really, if you look at it, SmackDown has what I would consider the better class of the female wrestlers to actually compete against Rhea for her belt. I don't think there's really anybody on Raw that can do that. I mean, you need someone like a Charlotte, somebody like a Bianca Belair, maybe even a Becky Lynch to a lesser extent, to actually compete against somebody like Rhea. That's where I think that she's missing, because they don't have the talent on Raw for her to, have a competitive match.
Jimmy, where do you weigh in on this?
I like what Chris is saying. I would like to see her wrestle some, but we've got Lynch and Stratus and Stark, who Stark is doing very well. We've got them embroiled in something. And yeah, where else are you going to go with that? So I think after SummerSlam is when you're going to see maybe that Becky Lynch after she beats Trish, maybe that we get that going again.
All right, well then answer me this, Jimmy. How is the SummerSlam match that you are predicting a little bit and we are all sort of hoping for, how is that match aided by them saying on Raw a couple of nights before we recorded this that Raquel Rodriguez is out with a leg injury? Like, how is that match aided by that being the storyline? I'm just failing to see it here.
Yeah, we have to wait until later tonight where Raw Monday. Sorry. See, your separate brand theory, Chris, by the way, is the title of the show, just so you know. Fantastic. Love it. But we have to wait until Raquel comes back and destroys Rhea in the ring. I mean, that's going to happen, and then they're going to fight it at SummerSlam, I'm assuming. Speaking of SummerSlam, I want to get through the card real quick here. Just initial thoughts on the card as a whole before we leave. Next week, we'll do our big prediction show, but we have Roman Reigns against Jey Uso in a tribal combat match. So I'm assuming there's going to be lays all over the ring and something will happen there.
I hated the end of that SmackDown. I hated the end of that SmackDown. I hated it. Honestly, I thought it was so against the story that they have told, where Roman has been so, I'm just saying Roman's been so underhanded, right? I mean, he has hit his cousins, you know what I mean? He's so underhanded at every turn. And then all of a sudden he's like, let's go head to head. You know what I mean? Like, I love you. Like, let's embrace here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I didn't buy that one bit. I didn't like that end of SmackDown. Chris?
It was a travesty that we saw Jey Uso in the ring and not deliver a super kick to somebody.
It has to be done, kind of like entrances and things like that. So we have Uso and Reigns. We have Rollins against Finn Balor. If he's going to do it, this is the time to do it. But I don't know if I see it. I don't know if I see Finn Balor winning.
Much Judgment Day right now. Just so much Judgment Day. Just Judgment Day basically every 20 minutes on Raw. It's Dom doing his Dom thing. And it's Rhea saying Dom's my Latino heat. And it's Senior Money in the Bank. and it's Finn Balor doing whatever it is that Finn Balor's doing. I still don't know if I've 100% honed in on exactly what it is that Finn Balor is doing, but Judgment Day continues to do many, many Judgment things on Monday Night Raw, and I don't know if at any point I am excited about any of them.
We have the three-way for the women's championship match that we already spoke about. We have Rhodes and Lesnar. I'm looking forward to that one. It's going to be hard-hitting. Someone's going to die during that match. Hopefully it's not, either of them.
Jimmy, are we getting stipulations? Are we going to get a stipulation on that? You predicted this earlier.
I don't think so. It might be, especially since the main event now is going to be no holds barred tribal rules. I don't know if we're going to get a stipulation on this match.
Does that lessen your excitement for this match if there's not some sort of weird stipulation and we're just going back for a regular 1-2-3 pinfall match?
It's odd that that's the third match in the series. It really is odd. I'm still looking forward to it, but title shot type situation or something weird, would have been, I think, a little bit better.
Yeah, I continue to be impressed with the way Cody Rhodes has carved himself out, basically his own lane and his own gimmick and his own character, right? Like, I love Cody Rhodes and I will take shots at him from time to time. I will, but I think I just do that for entertainment purposes. I also absolutely respect his ability to get that over with the fans and sort of really be a breath of fresh air and a change and a difference from every other guy on that roster. And it just, like, I will admit that I'm somewhat enthralled by his presence when he comes on my screen.
Okay. Chris King, we've got Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. There's no one on this episode that likes to talk more about them than you. You excited about that match at all?
No,
I
not
think
really.
So.
This is Vince again, Jimmy. This is Vince again screaming at all of us. We have to have Ronda involved in SummerSlam. Ronda's a big name. Let's go. I mean, just no one cares. I hear that Ronda Rousey's contract is going to be up.
Yeah.
I hear that she's probably not signing again, so this is probably it for her. So fine, I guess. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. So long. Goodbye. But
Gesundheit. Hello. Yes, exactly. Chris King, I will let you have your moment in the sun here. We do have Gunther and Drew McIntyre.
Yes, I think this will be a hell of a match. We all know how good in the ring these two are. We've seen previews of what this match could be in the last Royal Rumble.
WrestleMania.
I thought they were in the Royal Rumble.
No, they had the triple threat at WrestleMania.
True. That as well. So I am really excited. I really was excited to see my boy Drew back in the ring for the first time since he came back in an official match. He looked good. Gave Gunther a powerbomb through the table. So yes, I am excited. I really hope that they reward Drew with the Intercontinental belt. I don't know if they're going to do it though.
Jimmy, guess what? Drew McIntyre did not forget how to do a future shock DDT. He did not forget how to do a kip up. He didn't forget how to do any of those things, Jimmy. It was absolutely fabulous to see our guy do his thing.
Drew McIntyre is a good professional wrestler. Very
yes,
good.
Is.
And you know what? Man, he needs a title win in front of people. Yeah. Man, that would be fantastic. Heck, let's have him.
Do you think it's going to happen?
No, I think they need to keep it on Gunther. I think it as much as I love Drew, I think it needs to stay on Gunther.
Where does Drew go after this then, Jimmy? That's my other question, right? Because I want good things for our guy, Chris. All right. So Drew's going into a match that we all think he's going to lose. Where do we go after that?
Do we have some kind of a tournament or something to crown the new number one contender for the world championship? But if you think about it, if Balor wins, Priest is going to be the one to probably do something with that.
We are looking at the new RK Bro, Jimmy. That's where we are going with Drew McIntyre. All right, come on. Are we not? Come on. Him and Drew have been doing a bunch of stuff recently. Riddle and him are showing up in pictures on social media. Riddle's doing the same kind of like, oh, Drew, you're the man that he did to Randy Orton. We are looking at the new RK Bro. Are we not?
I hope so, because then Orton comes back and is pissed at Riddle and Drew, and we got all that going on. Plus, we have a tag team champion, the undisputed world heavyweight tag team champions. One of them's hurt, so we need to figure that out as well.
And then the guys who deserve the belts have somebody hurt too. So yeah, it's completely up in the air.
The fact that he got hurt is very bad for Pretty Deadly. That sucks.
And finally,
Ricochet.
on a rocket ship, Jimmy. They were on a rocket ship to the tag belts, and then my guy Elton Prince separated his shoulder. Oh, no, boy.
Ricochet versus Logan Paul. They are going to try to do stuff in this match that you have never seen before. And I hope for Ricochet's sake. I love Ricochet. I think he's terrific. This is his chance. Let's go. Let's go, Chris King.
Yeah. Listen, they are going to have, at minimum, and I'm sure there's going to be an over-under on this next week that we do, of 4 viral moments in that match that they can break the internet with. It's going to be crazy, insane, flying through the air into each other from opposite side of the rings type stuff happening. It should be a fantastic, exciting match, and we should probably hear a couple "this is awesome" chants.
I'm worried, though. I'm worried with the whole fact that Logan keeps bringing up unprofessional. I'm just worried about what we might be trying to set up and what the end game of this match might be if that was the track that was laid for us.
Do me a favor, you two, and our listeners here. YouTube Ricochet versus Will Ospreay. It's Ospreay. They had a sequence. This is years ago. This is like 5 or 6 years ago, where it almost broke the internet because it was so fake and everything like that. But it was an amazing dance, essentially, together in the ring. Look at that. I think they're going to try to model something off of that.
See, this is where Jimmy's exciting, wonderful insider knowledge comes through for all of you wonderful listeners of the Yeah We Know podcast. Jimmy drops a little nugget on you like that out of nowhere. He's hosting. He's being gracious, throwing it out to guys like Chris and me who have just had 10% of the opinions Jimmy could have, and he lets us just shine on this podcast. But then, right at the end, he drops a little nugget for you, letting you know that he's actually truly the Bobby the Brain Heenan of this podcast.
Goodbye, net. Yeah.